and this guy came in, and you know how they have this nice suit on, and then they have this jacket around, like the 90s type of style.
Okay.
And his hair was really slick back, whatever you call that.
How old was he?
He was around 30.
30 plus?
Yes. Hey everybody, welcome back again to Filipina Life with Mia. And
España version.
so it's been a while since I have made my last video. That was when we were still in Bacolod, kind of like a farewell video with GU and you.
Yeah.
Remember? But we've been busy with a lot of things, and that because
We've been on vacation mode.
yeah, and you know how vacation mode gets into you. You become lazy.
Yeah.
But anyways, today, as you'll know, we're here in Spain with my husband, enjoying the life,
Enjoying some coffee.
enjoying the life that he provided. Charot.
Char?
So today, we are going to talk about this specific topic that kind of piqued my interest because I actually experienced it while we were here,
Okay.
and I told my husband about it every encounter.
Oh, okay. I see where you're going with this.
Yeah, so I told my husband every time I encounter such thing, because you know, I just want him to know that, right? It's kind of like
She wants me to be jealous.
no.
I'm just joking. Continue. I'm just joking with you. Come on. Just continue.
So, you know, a lot of foreigners, they go to the Philippines or any other Southeast Asian countries to find a good wife or a wife that they want to be with for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And once they find that wife, others decided to move back to their home countries, may it be the US or Europe, for example.
Western Europe, yeah.
Yes. And so with that, like, you really have to make sure that you have a good wife, Filipina for that matter, once you move back to your home country. Because there's a lot of temptation in my own experience.
Yeah.
There's a lot of temptations here in Europe. It's not that I'm tempted, okay? I never think of like men, oh wow, he's handsome like that. They all look the same to me.
So what's the temptation then?
So for Filipinas, if your Filipina doesn't have a strong will to
And
defy
boundaries.
that temptation around her, you know,
Yeah.
that relationship will stay strong. But if your Filipina is easily tempted by all these good-looking guys
Yeah.
in the background, that relationship will fall. So let me just start by saying one of the encounter I experienced
Okay.
was the first time was actually in Consum.
Which is a supermarket.
It's a supermarket where,
A grocery store, you call
Yeah.
it in the US, yeah.
and you know, my husband was in the fruit and vegetable section. I was gonna go and get his bread because I know he loves his bread. So I was gonna get it, and I was looking for the specific type of bread, and this guy came in, and you know how they have this nice suit on, and then they have this jacket around, like the 90s type of style.
Okay.
And his hair was really slick back, whatever you call that.
How old was he?
He was around 30.
30 plus?
Yes. And he was on his phone, and he approached, and then he said, "Hola, habla español?" I said, "Sí, un poquito." And then he said, "Oh, you speak English?" I said, "Yes, I do speak English." And then I keep on looking at my husband, but he was busy looking at this like
Fruits.
fruits.
All these wonderful fruits that I love here.
And I was like, "Get me out of here," you know, like I felt
Yeah.
like, what is this? Is this a trial? You know what I mean? And then afterwards, he said, "Are you here on vacation or travel?" I said, "I'm here on vacation with my husband." I pointed at, and then I said it like that. And then he's like, "Oh, tell your husband he has a really beautiful wife." And then
Yeah.
he just frack off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, Thank you. My husband knows about that, so, you know. And then later on, I told my husband about it.
And I
I
went
said,
searching for him. No, just kidding, joke. Joke.
so I've had like 3 or 4 encounters,
Yeah,
different
it's
setting, of course. So the thing is, for Filipina, if she doesn't set the boundaries, that relationship you have will fail.
yes.
So,
Do you want me to say something?
yes, my love.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. What you just said, the last thing is important. The boundaries that it's kind of like, I look at it as like the opposite. You get the same reaction here as I get in the Philippines.
Yeah.
You know, like the girls looking at me, the girls putting the moves on me and
Yeah,
all that.
yeah, yeah.
And here's the other way around, right? So it's kind of like me in the Philippines, I have to set the boundaries and I
Yes.
have to say no and all that. Here it's kind of you has to do that way,
Yes.
right? So it's kind of the opposite. So I kind of get to feel how she feels in the Philippines,
See?
but only for a few more weeks. But yeah, but so that's important. But it's also important, like you're talking about bringing a girl here and all that. But there's something people have to be aware of. We're all, we all become kind of what society makes us in a way. In a way, you know, so society kind of molds the person
Okay.
with its boundaries, its laws, its shaming, and all that. It's a lot of that goes into it from when you're little till you grow up, right? Now, the older you get, the more set you are in your ways. And even if you move to a new society, it's very hard for you to get out of the mold that you've been molded in, right?
Yeah.
So a younger a Filipina is, and the less boundaries she has, the less, I wouldn't say morals, but the less she's set in her ways, the easier it is for her to kind of leave that guy
Yeah.
eventually when there's nothing to gain from that guy. Like if somebody comes to the US or Australia or here, right? Most Filipinos, when they leave a guy, is once they get their green card or their passport, or here would be called residencia, is because they had no intentions of staying
Yeah.
to start off with, right? They were planning to leave, or after a few years, you know, I mean, let's be honest, marriage, long-term relationship, it kind of can get static, you know. You're doing the same thing over and over again, right?
Yeah.
It's not that excitement of meeting, for me, meeting a new girl, for you meeting a new girl, a guy. God, sorry.
Not a
This is,
lesbian. I am
this is
not-
my first coffee.
I'm not a lesbian.
And I'm not gay. But yeah, it's like that, right? The excitement of it is just like coming to Spain. It's very exciting, right?
Yeah.
But if you've lived here for 2, 3 years, that excitement kind of goes off because you're living day to day, right? That's just normal. So you have to be aware of that as a person when you move to a new place. And also you have to be aware of the woman you're taking with you. What is her background, right? What does she value? Does she value going to the bar? Does she value going, you know, girls' night out? Does she work at a bar? Does she like always want to be alone with her friends doing things, or are you guys always together doing things in the Philippines and you can't live without each other, kind of deal? You know, you have to look at the dynamics of the relationships.
Yep.
And if the dynamic in that relationship is not good, it's going to get worse when you get here, a
Yeah.
lot worse. I can give you an example. I read a newspaper article before, or magazine article, I can't remember if it was newspaper or magazine, but it warned females that were middle-aged and older, like, you know, the guys might get transferred to Asia, you know, for high-end job like the Philippines, Taiwan, China, and so on, or Thailand or wherever. And that newspaper warned women that if your man gets that offer, say no to it. And there were statistics behind this that a lot of times when the guys went over there with their wife, you know, in 45, 50, it ended up
Really bad.
it ended basically, because what happens is the dynamic changes, right?
Yeah.
He goes there and suddenly he's the big prize, okay? He's in shape, he works out, he makes good money, and she's just a 45-year-old woman that
Yeah.
really has gone way past her prime, right? And this guy, even though he loves his wife, after a while there's temptation. He starts thinking, oh, I could have her, I could have her, I could have had her. And after a while, it just it breaks down the marriage. So you have to be aware of those dynamics, and you have to find a way to stop those dynamics from happening.
Mm. Like I really agree with you on how you should look at your wife's hobbies in a way, or the background in a way,
Yeah.
because here in Europe, or like I'll give
In
you an
Spain, you know,
like
Europe is very big. We
yeah,
just-
okay.
Spain, yeah.
Like I'll give you an example. Someone I know, she's married,
Yeah.
and she has been invited to a nightclub here in Spain, particularly here in where we are right now. And she said, "No, why would I go there?" You know.
Yeah.
Plus, she's a Christian,
Yeah.
and so, like many Filipinas who are, they either have a husband, and the husband just doesn't care that the wife goes to a nightclub or something, as long as he has company,
Yeah.
they tolerate that kind of behavior, right? And so she told me about it, and I said, I do not understand the mindset of Filipinas. They should, like, their husband brought them to where they are right now.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be where they are right now if not because of their husband. You know, I mean, yeah, it's easier to say, like, if you have money, you can go to any other European countries, but it's hard. It's hard, especially for a single Filipina. And so I do not understand the mindset of Filipinas. Just after they get that residence or the passport, they just leave their husband and let the man suffer.
Well, I think it's like that with some people. It's one of the things in the red pill community. They say, I can't remember the exact phrasing, but something like, a woman never appreciates what you did for her in the past. She only appreciates what you're going to do for her in the future. It's not that exact phrasing, but something like that. And I would say most women are like that. Probably most men are like that. What you did for a person in the past
Doesn't
they have
matter.
nothing to gain from it anymore.
Yeah.
It's what you can do for them in the future, right? So again, it has to be, if you're bringing someone here, you have to be really, really secure in that relationship.
Yep.
And if you bring her over here, there's still a good chance that that relationship won't last. Because, if you're in the Philippines, you kind of, the man kind of sets the rules, he sets everything, he's got the money, he sets the rules. And the dynamics change here. If you, for example, if she goes out to work, now she has her own money. Now she's meeting younger guys. Other girls start telling her, why are you with this old guy? I mean, we get some strange looks over here, like me and you.
Yeah.
I mean, in the Philippines, girls look at you and they say, sana all. Here they look at you and they're like, what's wrong with you? Why are you with this guy here? You could have had these guys over here, So it's different, and the dynamics, and that girl, whoever girl you bring here, she has to be strong. She has to be strong in her morals. She has to be strong in her foundations. And the only way you know that is, well, you have to kind of live with her in the Philippines for a longer time and
Yeah.
see, really, don't just like live like this, but try to go from 1,000 meters up and look down at the relationship. Ask other people what they see in the relationship. Because sometimes when you're so into a relationship, you don't see the dynamics as much as somebody outside the relationship. So you have to ask, and you have to, not just somebody, I mean, somebody who's willing to tell you the truth. A lot of people will just like, oh yeah, it's great, because they don't want to be confrontational. They don't want to say something that will insult you. So you have to have friends like that are willing to say things that are going to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
Just to tell you the truth,
Hopefully, some of the guys will learn from mistakes of others.
Yes. I doubt it, but
Because
yeah.
there's a lot of horror stories out there, and you know how men, they tend to like turn a blind eye
Yes.
because they love that woman, and they'd go a mile just to make sure that she's really comfortable and everything.
Yeah.
So with that, I thank you everyone for watching, and please do check out my husband's channel from
Pa, but not Grandpa. Paul's Asian Adventure. Guys, before you go, I want to show you our view here, sitting here on the
Yeah.
balcony.
Yeah.
It's hard to see maybe because it's a wide lens, but
But
maybe
right
you can
over
zoom
there,
in.
that's the
You can zoom in
scene.
and post, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, this is our view. Okay, guys.
See you all in the next one.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Adios.